Hello and welcome to How to Play 12 Numbers. This is a perfect dice game for 2 to up to 50 players. As long as you have the paper and pens, you have this game. So the object's to be the first player to fill a vertical column with numbers in sequential order. So that basically means one can be at the very top column, and it could go all the way down to, say, 100 on the bottom. And greater numbers must go below lesser numbers. Lesser numbers must go above greater numbers. So if you call a number between 1 and 100 on your turn and roll the die, wherever that die lands, that's the column that number's going in. And the positioning's up to you. It has, though, to follow those rules that lesser numbers be on top of greater numbers. Sixes, in this case, are wild. They can be placed anywhere. And what's great about this game is every turn, everybody plays. So the first thing you're going to do is assemble your preamble of tens. So we're going to put a 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 in a column. Then we're going to do 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. It doesn't matter which column. We just can't have more than more than two in each column. So we're just going to want to put two tens in each column. That's how we're going to do it. The positioning is up to you. Remembering, though, that greater numbers must go below. So usually put the 100 at the very bottom and the 10 somewhere close to the top. So the first number called was a 1. It gets rolled as a 1. It gets placed in the 1 column. A 3's been called. It comes up as a 6. That can be placed anywhere. Now player 1, for example, he has a 1, 3 space and a 10. So any single digit number that's greater than 3, he can play. If it's a 2 gets called out, he's stumped. He can't play it. So this is going to go back, players alternating turns. Everybody, once it's their roll, they call the number and they roll. Both players can use it if it's possible. So information that's open is the player's sheet. Every player should know what numbers are on each player's sheet, simply so that they can make the determination of what number they need to call on their turn. That's the strategy of this game. It seems simple, but you will get stumped a lot because you're going to try to go for a win, and some columns will not support the numbers you're calling. You want it to be a 1 that gets rolled when you're trying to fill up the 1 column, and you'll get every other column. That's what makes it a challenge. You're calling the number before you roll the die. Now, penalties as far as this game's concerned, it's very simple. If you forget to call the number before you roll, you lose your turn. Now, one of the things I find interesting about this game is when you have a lot of players, it's a much better game. It's much more fun. It's much more entertaining when you have 3 versus 2. If you have 4 versus 3, the more people that are in the game, the better. It plays just like a bingo, which is what it's designed after. And you could change the win condition. If you want to do a preamble of just the first 5 tens, you can. If you want to expand the columns up to 20 numbers, you can play it that way. If you want a player to have to fill up 2 vertical columns to win, you can. 3, you can. 4, you can. All 5, it's also possible. That's what makes games great. This game just asks for house rules. Whatever you feel comfortable playing, you can do with this game. And that goes for almost any game that I show you. Games were meant to be experimented with. Some of the best games that we've ever gotten as a species have been games that people have modified the original rules and intent for and made house rules up. So never be afraid to experiment with rules. Never be afraid to find out what can be done. But other than that, that's just the simplicity of this game. It's a very, very simple. And finally we have a winner. It's player 2. They filled out a vertical column. The game's over. So like always, if you want to play this game out in public, come to the Reddit subpage. Let us know what city you're in. Let us know what games you know. If you're willing to learn, if you're willing to teach, when and where you want to meet up for cards. And if you know of any games that don't have a how-to video associated with them on YouTube that are somewhat in the free category, so card game, dice game, domino games, even abstracts using checkerboard, chessboards, and some random pieces, let me know about them. I'm always interested in finding new games to cover.